everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the award-winning Fan Show. And this is part 5. Has it been 5 already? Let's see. Jose, Craig, Ed, Neil, and now Marcus. That's right. This is part 5 of our College Gridiron Showcase specials, our weekly mini-series counting down to the big event. We are less than a month away. I don't even know what the exact number of days is, but it's not very many. They have announced the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, the running backs, the centers, and I believe they're just going to keep announcing position by position. In fact, it's been such a great reception, and some of the biggest names in college sports are going to attend, that Jose will be back for part 6 next week to go over all of the people, the players that you can look forward to seeing at the showcase. CGSAllstar.com is where you can go to find out more information. And don't forget, these episodes, this mini-series special we're doing, is brought to you by the good folks at KT Tape. KT Tape is that magical thing that you can apply to various parts of the body to help expedite the healing process. I mean, Tom Brady had it on his thumb at the Super Bowl. You heard Ed Terrace, one of the marketing VPs of KT Tape, discuss in great detail just what it is that it does and why it's so special. And I mean, honestly, I was I was sold on it, and you know, I think it's fantastic. It really is something special for the athlete in your home, maybe, but you need to go and check out kttape.com. With some applications, it is believed that the kinesiology tape, or KT tape, can affect an athlete's sensory feedback, also known as a perception, I gotta get these words down, through receptors in the skin, and in turn influence movement in the body. In other applications, techniques, the KT tape has been shown to reduce pain, making it an excellent drug-free alternative. Another technique has been theorized to facilitate lymphatic drainage following an injury by lifting the skin, thereby helping to reduce swelling. So look, if you want to prolong your career, if you want to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to your body, if you're an athlete, if you're competitive, if you're aggressive, why put yourself on the shelf for longer than you need to? KT Tape is going to help you get there, get better, and get back faster and better than ever. So with that, today, Marcus Coleman, who is actually the defensive backs coach of the College Gridiron Showcase, but was recently selected and announced as the new head coach for the expansion team, the Tucson Sugar Skulls, in the Indoor Football League. We talk about that. We talk about the CGS, that, so much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Marcus Coleman, College Gridiron Showcase, and head coach of your Tucson Sugar Skulls. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now for the next edition of our weekly mini-series for the College Gridiron Showcase is an active member of the showcase, but also the new head coach for the expansion team in the IFL, the Tucson Sugar Skulls. It is Marcus Coleman. Mr. Coleman, welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's when this airs, it'll be about 22 days until the College Gridiron Showcase as our countdown continues. Very exciting time. It'll be my first time there covering the event. This will be year number 5 for Jose and Craig and the rest of everybody involved, which I understand that you are involved as well. What would you say your official title and role is with the showcase?
Oh, well, this will be my 1, 2, 3, I think third year. Actually, my 4th year. And myself and Coach Kent, we're the defensive backs coach, and we also help with special teams and really just kind of where we're needed at that particular time, depending on what the day is and what's going on. To tell you the truth. So the good thing about what Jose does is he lets us all kind of interact, and if somebody needs help at a different position, he doesn't have a problem with people going over and and helping out, and the other coaches, accept their help as well. So that's what, I think makes, the group that we've had and, so good and has helped with the success, of the College Gridiron Showcase.
I must admit, and it's kind of an odd thing, but it's an odd thing that I'm rather proud of, is that there's a few relationships with positions and then position coaches that I have a special relationship with. Kickers are one of them. I know, like, just about every damn kicker in the IFL, NAL, and they're all great guys. But defensive back coaches, I also have a special relationship with them. Eastern Washington University, their defensive back coach, Cherokee Valeria, a hell of a guy. He has been so fun to get to know up here, and they are advancing to the semifinals in the FCS. But one thing that we joked around about when he was on the show was that, you guys are molding the young minds of tomorrow's athletes, and it couldn't probably be at a tougher position than what we're seeing in today's NFL, the defensive back, after you have scores in the high 40s and 50s where it seems like, no defense is welcome. How do you coach that? How do you critique that, knowing that the game is changing, and when it comes to defense, not necessarily for the better?
Well, I mean, honestly, in regards to, obviously you have to start with the rules, of course, and we all know that a lot of the rules are geared towards, towards the offense, because according to statistics, fans love seeing, a more offensive game than low scoring games or defensive dominated game, which I don't really agree with. But so you have to contend with that, and really you have to stick to your fundamentals when guys are covering one-on-one, specifically corners and guys that are in the slot. You have to make sure that their fundamentals are good, that they're not getting too handsy and grabbing and things like that, because there's a lot of calls with that. Also from a schematic standpoint, everybody says that, there's a lot of offensive innovation and things like that, and that's actually not true. Offensive, whether it be spread or anything like that, have been around forever. I mean, you still see teams running elements of wing T, in college and even in pro. Mm-hmm. The innovation has come on the defensive side of the ball, where now we're having to use, for example, if you run a 4-2-5 or something like that, you got to have a guy that can, he's like half corner, half safety, depending on who the defensive coach is, or he may be a half safety, half linebacker, playing at that, at that fifth spot. You got to come up with new ways to blitz, and not just, regular overload blitzes or double A gap blitzes. You got to find different ways to blitz, from whether you're off the corner, or off the slide, disguise coverages in ways where you're still running, your same coverages, but you just have guys moving around from different areas and ending up in the spot where you want them to be. So defensively, we've had to be innovative and figure out ways to stop offenses and counteract what they do, because it's not just line up and play anymore, especially with empty sets and things like that. There's a lot of window dressing in offenses now. So you have to make sure that guys are disciplined, make sure they're on their fundamentals and that they're reading their keys.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. Now, me personally, the Sunday night football game between the Rams and the Bears, I love that game. I thought that was a very well played game on defense.
That was a great game, and really you just had two defenses that outmatched the offenses that last night. That's just what it was. And even in the case of Kansas City and the Rams, it was still a great game, although high scoring, but you had defensive touchdowns from both teams mixed in and turnovers and things like that. In that case, the offense just won. So it happens like that, but I don't know if everybody wants to see 50s and 60s, thrown up every single weekend. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, and I think that, Chicago is one of those defenses that can win you a championship, so long as they don't play Peyton Manning, because that was that, they say, 9 out of every 10 times the best defense will always beat the best offense, but it's that one that can get you, and Peyton Manning was the one to beat Chicago that year when they had the number one defense. So it can happen, and it's a shame, but they're doing their job, and I thought it was a great game, because I love momentum shifts like that. It seems like the offense is doing work, and then the defense comes up with a pick or a turnover, and now the whole thing has changed. So I'm more of a fan of that game than I am who can score last and who can score more. But
Right.
for you, you said 4 years. We're going into year 5. So obviously, you weren't in like on the ground level, but you've been in for a majority of the showcase. The question that I ask everybody when we're talking about this event is, was there a moment or an exchange or something that was discussed with Jose or Craig, or just something that dawned on you where you said, this is something that can really work and can really benefit a lot of young kids looking to get to that next level?
Well, I think it's the thing that I like about it most, to tell you the truth, is when talking to Jose and Craig in the beginning when I was asked to do it, is I like the setup and I like the format. So it's not drawn out over an entire week, kind of like the Senior Bowl. Even though I like the Senior Bowl, I just think it should be cut down maybe about 2 days. But I've had NFL scouts say the same thing. They like that they can come in. We put them through drills that they want to see. We're not out there making up our own drills and doing our own thing. We ask them specifically, what drills do you want to see, from the defensive backs? Do you want this drill? How about this drill? This drill is similar to this drill, or it does the same thing. Do you want to see this? And so forth. And, having, having that communication between the coaches and the scouts that come in to see these young men and see them perform, we give them exactly what they want to see. So, at the defensive back position, they want to see hip movement. They want to see, how is the guy in his back pedal. They want to see how is he off a press. They want to see his ball skills. Once we get a team situation or 7-on-7, they want to see instincts and awareness and things like that. And we don't make it, too hard in regards to what we run, coverage-wise. We only run like 3 coverages, and up front we only do like 2 or 3 things, and then that's it. So for me, it was the format, the way that it was set up. Guys come in. I mean, obviously you have to go through the physicals and the measurements and those kind of things. But once practice time starts, the game planning is minimal. We tell them exactly what we're going to do, what we expect from them. We go out and, have a set number of plays for everybody, and we get it done. And we don't really try to overcoach the guys. We let them go in and show their athleticism and show their intelligence and show the instincts and show everything that the scouts want to look for. So, for me, that's what I was drawn for. It's not, it's not a big TV production, and you don't have, all these, all this wasted time in between. Guys come in, you get to work in, have a little scrimmage at the end, to keep it competitive and see how guys play with and against, other guys at different, from different levels. And, at the end of the day, hope that these young men can make it out. So that's, I think for me, that's what's drawn me to the Gridiron Showcase and why I keep coming back.
Yeah, there's not a lot of pomp and circumstance to it, and I think that's something that really helps a lot because, you want to leave the politics out of something like
Right.
this, and the more media attention and draw that you have, I mean, yeah, it's flattering, but at the same time it can be an overbearing distraction, and of course we have kids that already hold out of some of the highest bowl games if it's not the college football playoff, and that stirred some controversy as is. But one sidebar I wanted to open up here, and then we'll bring it back to CGS, is that it was announced earlier this season that there would be a new expansion team out of Tucson, Arizona, and then you have been named the head coach of that team, Tucson Sugar Skulls, as they're called now. So for you, is this your first head coaching gig? Because I know that you're an IFL vet, but is this your first time at the helm with the reins?
Yeah, this is my first head coaching gig. I've been, a defensive back coach, and in the last couple of years, been the defensive coordinator. This is only my 4th year in the IFL, to tell you the truth. And I've been fortunate to work, with and around some really good coaches, and it's gotten me to this point, and the owners of Tucson, they were, gracious enough to offer me the opportunity, and I was more than happy to accept it. So I'm looking forward to building this program and getting it off the ground and getting it running.
Yeah, because we talked to a lot of head coaches that it's their first time, being a head coach, but it's with a team that's already, been established and kind of, I don't know, not necessarily has an identity. Maybe that's why there's a coaching vacancy, but, they have a fan base, they have a roster that they're looking to keep, but now they're looking to get to winning, But for you, this is, in every sense of the word, coming in at the ground level and hoping to go to the top. And I can't think personally of a more perfect way to sort of get your first, get your feet wet for head coaching, because this team will be, for however long, built in your image. I mean, what is that feeling and experience like for you, knowing that everything that this team does is going to be the first and that you're going to be the man behind it?
Yeah, wait, it's exciting. To tell you the truth, it's I mean, you say it like that. It's actually, it's kind of humbling that you say it like that. Because honestly, I never really thought of it like, to that magnitude, to tell you the truth. But, it's, I'm honored to be able to do that. And it's definitely a process. There are things that, the football part of it, I can definitely, take care of. When you become a head coach, there's a lot more administrative things that you have to handle now, because now you're handling transactions and we all do recruiting. That's something that we've always done. But now you're handling transactions and making sure you're going, knowing the rules and going to league meetings and you have to deal with personalities now. And if anything happens, you're the guy that everybody's going to call. They're not going to call the assistant coach. You're the one that has to more or less set the tone for the entire organization. Coming from the owner to you, and then everybody else, is below you. So it's exciting. And, I think I've done a good job of trying to hire, good coaches around me that either have had head coaching experience or have a lot of experience coaching, because there is no manual for how to be a head coach. If you find it, let me know so I can buy it, but there's not. So, you have to pull your experiences from the coaches you worked under or worked with, if they've been head coaches and try to put your own little spin on it. So right now, that's what I'm doing, trying to bring in guys that I think fit what we're trying to do and what I like. Definitely, intelligent guys, high character guys, obviously, to go along with their athleticism and their talent and be successful, the first year. This isn't, an instance where just because we're an expansion team, we're looking to have an average or mediocre year. Like, our goal is to win a championship, out the gate. So, we don't expect anything less, and every other coach on the staff expects the same thing. So it can be done. It's possible. And I say that because we did it in 2 years and an hour. So I know it can get done somewhere else, as long as you have the right people doing the right things and everybody's on the same page. But I'm really excited about the opportunity and looking to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I saw that you guys' first signing you made was a local boy, Robert Metz, who I know from the Blizzard. Good guy, a very athletic player. And then earlier it was announced Keith Jones Jr. will be joining your squad, another very talented IFL veteran in that respect. But I haven't heard anything on the quarterback, so whether or not you can announce anything officially, do you at least know who your guy is, or is that still going to be part of the search between now and the end of February?
We have an idea, but we're still, kind of taking our time at that position because we want to make sure we find the right guys. Mm-hmm. We do have a quarterback on our roster, Tesling, who doesn't have any IFL experience. However, he's one of those guys that, from a physical standpoint, he definitely, fits what we like and the kind of quarterback that we're kind of looking for. But, we're just kind of taking our time in our process with the quarterbacks. We want to make sure that we find, the right person that can come in and be the face of the franchise. And I think that's why we're taking our time, because when you bring in a quarterback and he's going to be your starter, whether it's a vet or, a second-year guy, something like that, you want to make sure that he understands what our expectations are and that he can be, like I said, the face. And we want to make sure we pick the right guy. So we still have time. There's, no real rush in regards to that. So we have a little bit of time to either make some moves or, continue calling people and looking at athletes and we'll make a decision, here pretty soon.
Well, that's good. I mean, you guys do what you need to do. Obviously, we said earlier, this is kind of a first for everything. And you're a defensive-minded coach. Now, I feel like there's a stereotype, but it hasn't necessarily been argued otherwise. When it comes to being one type of minded head coach over another, does that mean that your focus is building the best of that side of the football first, or are you trying to think about maybe the other side of the ball as well? Like, how does that whole thing work? If you're a defensive-minded coach, where does offense come in, or do you just make sure that you've got the right offensive coordinator for that job and kind of leave it to them?
Well, I'm not one of those coaches where, although I'm on the defensive side of the ball, that's where I, lean the heaviest, or I want everything to be. I want my team to be complementary, to each other. So if we can score 60, 70 points or whatever it is, so be it, but I want to make sure that I'm giving Coach Chan, who is our offensive coordinator, the right pieces in order for him to execute the game plans that he wants, week in and week out. So, I don't want it to seem like I'm just going to be heavy defense, and we'll, win tight games and things like that, because, those games are hard to win, to tell you the truth. If you're grinding it out every weekend, you're winning tight ball games, one play or here or two plays here, could flip that, flip the game. And as opposed to, yes, you could have been, let's say 9-2, but now you're 4-5, because everything's, plays so tight, and it also leaves you less room for error. So I don't like playing games like that. If we can score every single play, I'm all for scoring every single play. And I want to make sure Coach Chen has, the best guys, on the roster that he can put in to execute, what it is that he's trying to do. So I'm pretty open, I guess to say, I don't lean one way or another. I just want it to be balanced. I want to make sure that we're playing complementary football. And, I think, just from my experience, playing and coaching, that's kind of the best formula, as opposed to just leaning heavy on one side of the ball.
Fair enough. So now to bring it back to CGS, like I told you that we would, with all of that, with your new role with the expansion team, the Sugar Skulls, at CGS, is it going to be like, are you recruiting as well? Will you have a room that you'll bring young talent into and sort of impromptu interview them to possibly be the next member of the Tucson expansion team?
I don't know. I've thought about that a little bit. I don't know if I want to do that. And the only reason why I say that is because these guys are there for, and let's be honest, specifically NFL and CFL. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, so, not that I couldn't do that, or, there won't be opportunities to do that, but, I want to make sure that they're focused on those two leagues, because those are the two highest leagues, and that's where everybody's trying to get to. So I don't want to distract them in any kind of way from having their best, 2 or 3 days or 3 or 4 days, whatever it is, that we have there, so they can perform, at the optimal level. If I have the opportunity, maybe later on afterwards, when everything's kind of done, if there's guys that I see that I like, if I had that opportunity to talk to them, I may say something to them or tell them I may reach out to them, at a later date. But, while I'm there, I'll just be focused on making sure they perform at the level that they're capable of performing to, giving the scouts, what they need, regards to drills and things like that. And then, deal with possibly talking to them or signing guys later.
Fair enough. I didn't know if you had that kind of crossover, discussion with Jose yet or not. It'd be a great opportunity, but you're right. The gist that I get from the event is that it is for that, that NFL, CFL sort of preparedness. But another league, the AAF, is really making a lot of headway and some big splashes. Of course, their season starts about the same time as the IFL does, and mm-hmm. It looks like they've got, most important thing about a person in power is surrounding himself with the right people, and it seems like they've done that with the AAF. What are your thoughts on that league as someone who's head coach of an expansion team? We see an expansion league now with 8 new teams, all in good sports markets. But, they're going to try this thing. They're not going to go toe-to-toe with the NFL, but I guess they're trying to sort of help play role of a developmental league without actually being labeled as such. Have you looked much into this, much about it? Any thoughts on it at all?
Yeah, well, the way that they're setting it up, to this point, I actually like everything that they're doing. And I like that their role is solely a developmental league. And as you alluded to earlier, a lot of the coaches that they've hired are, name coaches that have coached in the NFL or coached in college or coached in the CFL and have a lot of expertise in what, the NFL and the CFL may be looking for, with certain players. I really think it's, something that, could be around for a long time if it's done the right way, to tell you the truth. So I've actually had a few conversations. I live here in San Antonio, so I've had, several conversations with Darryl Johnson, who's the GM, the general manager here for the Commanders. I think that's what they're called. Yeah. For the Commanders. So, just talk to him a little bit about what's going on and, getting kind of inside of, Mike Riley's, head coach, his staff and what they're doing down here. So I like the league, and I think it, for them to not go toe to toe and be a developmental league, I think if they show that they're going to be around for, a couple of years, if they're at year 2 and year 3 and they're showing progress and obviously, let's be honest, if they're in the black and not the red with regards to ticket sales, apparel, things like that, I think the NFL will probably, start to invest in it. And especially, here in San Antonio where you've got the Texans and you got the Cowboys sitting here. I know the Benson family, they love San Antonio and, they're from this area. So, they could possibly do it as well. So there's a lot of opportunity there, for this league to grow and be a legit developmental league, somewhat, similar to NFL Europe, which, I thought was a good league as well. So, but to have that here and the opportunities that could possibly branch off, from the league starting, as long as they do it the right way is, I think it's good. So I'm excited to see what they're about.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I've got a few friends that are on some of the teams and very excited for the opportunity that they're getting. There are a couple of indoor football vets as well. So it's going to be a very interesting 2019, but of course it all starts with the CGS in Fort Worth, Texas. You will be there for the DBs and coaching those young players, and then of course we'll have ourselves a 4-day event of all kinds of talent. They announced, I believe, the tight end class that has committed to being there along with the quarterback. So it looks like a great group of guys, young talent that's going to be down there, and excited to see you, and we'll see how this thing goes. But, a lot of plates spinning for you, Mr. Coleman, between Tucson and the CGS. So hopefully, you get the sleep that you need and everything works out for the best, and you're fresh and ready come January 5th.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll definitely be ready. I just, I know there's a lot going on, but I love the game of football, and I love the game. I love everything that encompasses it. Even the extra administrative duties that I have to take on now as being the head coach and some of the other responsibilities, that come along with it. But I love the game, and I love helping young men try to reach their goals. And that's why I'm in the IFL, and that's why we go to CGS. We want to make sure that we help these young men attain their goals. And I tell guys, when I'm talking to them, like, hey, look, I'm 44 years old, or whatever age that I am. I've already been drafted. I've already played in the NFL. I've already done all those things. I can help you, get there. I can show you what coaches are looking for. Tell you about some of my experiences. Tell you what teams may need or may not need, or and I can help you with some of the technical aspects of your game and what certain coaches are looking for as well. So, I feel like, it's, kind of my responsibility to do that since I was at a higher level. You definitely always want to pay it forward and help those that, that are either not able to do things for themselves or that are trying to reach their goals and they're trying to do it the right way. So that's why, even though there's a lot going on, I'm happy to do it all. I only get 5 hours of sleep anyway, maybe 6, so I'm always good on sleep. so that's kind of anything over that, I don't feel right. So that won't be an issue, but I'm always happy to help out and definitely be a part of, CGS. And, if, Jose needs me to do anything extra, I'm all about doing that as well. As long as it keeps CGS running the way that it's supposed to run and we keep growing it the way we've been doing it.
You check in at Fort Worth, and Jose's just like, how you feeling? You're like, I slept great. I got a full 40 minutes. We're good. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I I know that you guys have your guy in mind, according to you, but it wouldn't be me if I didn't at least make a plug for somebody that I know is looking for a place to call home. I believe Brian Hicks is on the quarterback market looking for a spot. So if he's on your radar, awesome. But, it's you guys have got some decisions to make. We've got a brand new expansion team in San Diego now. But good thing about you guys, the Rattlers in San Diego, is that you guys are pretty much destination teams at this point, where everybody's going to want to come to you, because even though it's inside, it's sunny, it's warm, and it's a good time. That's a big recruiting perk that we use. I don't think that it's not. It absolutely is. Like, hey, would you rather come to Tucson, or would you rather be, and I'm not going to say the name of a team, but would you rather be in the Midwest somewhere? That's, we definitely use that. You got to pull out all stops when you're trying to get guys. And I've actually been talking to Brian, great kid, and that we definitely like him. And he's, just so, we'll put it out there. He's definitely, he's on our radar. So, Perfect.
So we've actually had conversations, and like I said, we'll get that position narrowed down here pretty soon, and make decisions on that, and then we'll get ready to roll after that.
All right, Coach. Well, I will see you in a few short weeks. God, man, it's already it's just around the corner, about 22 days away. College Gridiron Showcase, Fort Worth, Texas. He is Marcus Coleman, defensive backs coach, but head coach of the Tucson Sugar Skulls. You have a good one, Coach. We'll see you there.
All right, you too. Take it, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You take care.
You too.
All right, once again, thank you to Marcus Coleman for joining me for part 5 of our weekly mini-series for this College Gridiron Showcase, January 5th through 9th, Fort Worth, Texas. Next week, the man himself, Jose Jefferson, will be back to talk about all the commitments that they have gotten from players at the different skill positions and just positions in general. The centers were announced, I believe linebackers. So he's going to have plenty to discuss next week. I hope you all enjoyed conversation today. Marcus, good chat with him. A lot of fun. And good luck to him. His maiden voyage as head coach for an expansion team in the Indoor Football League, which we will resume our coverage of after the new year. There's some NAL news as well. National Arena League is going to New York. That's right. The Big Apple was announced today that is where their expansion is taking them next. More to come on that next week, official press conference and everything else. But we are focused and closing in on the College Gridiron Showcase, just 22 days away. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we will talk to you then about more College Gridiron Showcase on the next edition of our College Gridiron Showcase series special right here on the F.A.N. Show.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the F.A.N. Show.